Here are your Court News Ohio top stories in 5 minutes. Many people across Ohio don't have the money to afford a lawyer. To bridge the gap for the 1 in 5 Ohioans who qualify for legal aid, the Ohio Supreme Court and the Ohio Access to Justice Foundation are asking for help from the state's 44,000 attorneys. The court distributed a voluntary pro bono reporting survey to each lawyer as a way for the foundation to collect data on how many people are enlisting, where, and what types of cases. To get the most accurate info in order to maximize its outreach, the organization says it needs all counselors, including the ones who prefer to donate their services anonymously and the ones who have yet to volunteer, to fill out the survey.
I feel like there is a duty for us to give back to the community and to help those in need.
The survey, which should take no more than 10 minutes, can be found at supremecourt.ohio.gov/ATTY/SVCS/survey. It will only be available through March 9th. A year ago, Ohio Supreme Court Justice Melody Stewart made history when she was sworn in as the first African-American woman elected to the state's high court. This week, she achieved another milestone as the third justice to be the featured speaker for the court's annual Black History Month celebration.
I was a little surprised that I was asked to do it so soon.
Joining former Justices Yvette McGee-Brown and the late Robert Duncan, Justice Stewart addressed nearly 200 people at the Thomas J. Moyer Ohio Judicial Center. Half of the crowd comprised of students from local high schools. On top of educating attendees about her work, she enlightened the crowd about how her professional passion pairs with her personal one.
When I write an opinion, it can't just read right, it has to sound right.
The program, titled The Harmony of Music and the Law, illustrated how certain components in one realm parallel the other.
There are rules and structures that we have to follow.
For example, in music, there are foundational elements known as motifs or hooks. Along with technical similarities in the two practices, there are social ones.
Every single solitary person in this room has some set of implicit biases. It's just who we are.
Subconscious stereotypes can happen in a courtroom based on appearance.
You need to recognize when it gets to that so you can stop yourself from making a biased decision.
In music, a genre may elicit certain expectations.
As you expected.
With a name like Melody, perhaps Justice Stewart was destined to be a lifelong student of the performing arts. Through her experiences, she believes music can develop and soothe minds, no matter the career path.
And if it instilled in them that they can learn more about music or play a musical instrument and still do whatever they want to do in life, then all of this will have been worthwhile.
For the justices of the Ohio Supreme Court, this is a routine day at the office.
Our next case is 2018-1137.
For the lawyers who present cases, oral arguments are anything but ordinary. The main courtroom's decor and the cases heard in the plush surroundings are both distinct. Each year, approximately 2,000 cases are filed with the Supreme Court. About 1,400 of those the court has the choice to hear. To be considered, each must have a public or great general interest. Only about 80 of those discretionary cases end up being heard.
Just by the way the room feels, that very serious things are decided.
In most instances, it's a years-long process for those successful attorneys, from the start of an appeal to when they have their day in court. When that time comes, there's an understandable anxiety.
I am nervous and uncomfortable in the hours leading up to the argument, but when I start arguing, it becomes comfortable pretty quickly.
After spending countless hours researching and crafting their interpretation of a law or policy, an attorney's 15 minutes of fame begins. But at any point during their presentation, this can happen.
Why would a court need to make findings about whether or not they're indigent?
What language in the statute did it disregard?
Would that be an abuse of discretion?
Since most cases aren't unanimous, there's the challenge of answering to jurists who interpret the issues differently. And when time's up, the guessing game begins.
Could I have answered a question better? Could I have made that argument more clear?
Unlike the trial court, decisions aren't announced for months. As the advocates anxiously wait, win or lose, they've achieved something few get to experience.
It's very exciting and fun for a lawyer to get the opportunity to argue to the highest court in Ohio.
And that's a look at Court News Ohio's top stories. Visit courtnewsohio.gov for the latest headlines on Ohio's courts. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.